Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Vamshi Krishna Reddy, Assistant Professor of English, Indian Institute of Technology, Tirupati. Today we are going to discuss a module titled as Body in Popular Culture, which is part of Identity and Culture Studies paper. This module is written by Neeraja Sundaram, Assistant Professor of English, Ajim Premji University. I would like to introduce the module. This module is a companion to the module on identity. If you have completed the identity module, you will remember that identity is central idea in culture studies. Identity is the way we make sense of ourselves and others in particular society. This module will consider the body as an important mode of an identity, expression, and performance. The body, or our bodies, within cultural studies is not only seen as a fact of nature, but as a way through which we express, maintain, and communicate our identities. This module will look at the body in four main categories. The section 1 deals with body and identity. The section 2 deals with body image and difference. And subsequently, section 3 discusses body and gender. And section 4 looks at the body as a project. Let us start with body and identity, which is a very important idea in culture studies. The body is understood within culture studies as a site of meaning. This implies that the body is recognized as a being significant for the expression of culture and cultural identity. Within culture studies, thus, the body is understood not merely as a fact of nature, but is seen instead as a site where identity is expressed, articulated, and performed. Hence, we consider body as an important concept where certain identities will come together, identities are resisted, contested, and talked about. Let us look at various case studies. The first case study that I would like to cite is tattooing. For example, tattooing and piercing the body can be seen as an individual autonomous acts of conforming to or resisting cultural expressions, expectations, understanding of one's body as limited or unchanging. In a sense, tattoo can be considered as a form of resistance. Either you resist an idea through tattoo or you support an idea through tattoo. Hence, tattoo can be seen as a medium to communicate your idea. Tattooing is a performance facilitated by the body and forms the basis for understanding one's location, status, acceptance within a particular social milieu. The body as a product of social constraint and construction. Social constraint and construction are important aspects of analyzing the body within cultural studies. For instance, sociologists and historians of medicine argue that the body is a subject of various kinds of disciplining practices. What that means is that the body is understood within medical science as requiring constant monitoring and care on account of being an important site of social cultural norms. Which means that body is considered as a tool to control, to maintain, or to manifest certain expressions, certain dominance by the hegemonic forces or dominant forces. The body is also seen as being embedded within a socio-cultural milieu and is understood within medical science as being both vulnerable to and as a source of threat. Body as vulnerable. Let us look at how body can be or seen or could be seen as vulnerable. For example, many advertisements for household products like cleaning agents and immunity boosting products like Chyawanprash show the body as being vulnerable to invasion or attack at any time by disease. Another key aspect of the body being understood as a product of social construction within cultural studies is that it is seen as determined by a discourse. This implies that our notions of what constitutes Healthy, beautiful, normal, and undesirable or ugly bodies is a result of production and organization of meaning by various social practices and institutions like education, medicine, law, and religion. So there are various institutions which, which would try to define what is body, how the body is supposed to perform, how the body is supposed to manifest in front of the public, inside and outside the public sphere, and there are various factors that would determine this. For example, many toothpaste advertisements are an example of how medical discourse works to socially produce the body. In any toothpaste advertisement, there is an authority figure called dentist. You might see in many advertisements which endorse toothpaste, there is always a dentist who always would like to recommend a particular toothpaste with an authority. It actually constructs an authority figure through advertisement that the dentist has the authority to communicate what is good for your body and what is bad for your body. This authority figure shows us what we normally cannot see. In this case, the bacteria and plaque accumulated on your teeth. Once we have been shown these animations of what happens in bodily locations, we cannot see, we are expected to visualize our bodies in the same way as what is shown in the advertisements. It's fantastic to see how the advertisements graphically show you the kind of bacteria and what it does to your body. With the animating advertisements, you start thinking and imagining what would happen to your own teeth. Hence, you are threatened by the idea of bacteria and go back to the toothpaste. Medical discourse thus constructs a body whose defenses are weak and require constant maintenance and surveillance. This kind of discourse and controlled by specific institutions that construct the body in particular ways organize our experience of our own bodies. Thus, we come to associate white teeth with beauty and yellow teeth or bad breath with ugliness and lack of social success. Example, you will find out these constructions in close-up toothpaste or Pepsodent, where they construct certain good bodies and bad bodies, good teeth and bad teeth, graphically. These advertisements construct the idea of good teeth and bad teeth through their advertisements. And what is good teeth is always ratified by the authority figure called dentist through various animations. And you are consistently controlled by these constructions. So far, we have looked at the body as a site of expressing particular kinds of identity. We have also looked at how various authority figures like the doctor produce quote-unquote a way of making sense of body. We can now move on to how we all share certain notions about how all our bodies should appear. Here I comes to section 2, where we talk about body image and difference. Ideas about beautiful and healthy body that circulate in popular media are responsible for influencing what is generally defined as body image. Very often, the advertisements inform the audience what is supposed to be a good body and what is supposed to be a bad body. The advertisements usually construct what is supposed to be a good body, what are the qualities of good body. And these ideas come under the section called body image. Body image is a concept that refers to the attitudes and perceptions that one has towards their own body. While this sense of one's body image is not exclusively restricted to appearance, it is determined in large part by how we appear to others and are recognized by others in social interactions. Popular media creates a body image through a combination of visible identity markers that are manifested through body. While labor should be expanded in the maintaining of the beautiful quote-unquote and quote-unquote ideal body through the use of particular grooming products, no signs of this labor should be visibly marked on the body. The suggestion here is that unkempt, shabby body should be hidden through habitual labor carried out towards maintaining one's appearance. Hence, the advertisements keep on informing you that you need to behave in a particular fashion. You need to shape your body in a particular fashion that is being informed by the advertisements. It is the advertisement that would eventually construct how you are supposed to look like and what is supposed to be the ideal body or good body, and how do we avoid shabby body. And to look at this particular aspect, the best example would be looking at cosmetic advertisements. One can take this cosmetic advertisement as a case study and look at how body is constructed by these advertisements. While cosmetics advertisements aim at minimizing labor required for caring for the face, it emphasizes and normalizes the work required to make our bodies presentable and acceptable, quote unquote, for social interaction and recognition. Body image is thus responsible for the creation of perceptions about an ideal or perfect body one can aspire for, while fostering attitudes about how differences or deviations from this ideal are undesirable. Hence, any deviations from this perfect body is seen as a body that is as other, that is not desired, that is not acceptable, that is not fair. Those deviated bodies are not supposed to fit into the civilized society. Take a look at different examples of advertisements in the module that is being provided to you. The examples such as products that sell teeth whiteners and anti-dandruff shampoos, for instance, even health drinks. In the case of all these products, the manufacturers are emphasizing what we should all desire as acceptable and unacceptable characteristics. Acceptable characteristics are always listed as fairer complexion, youthfulness, stamina, and confidence. These advertisements are not only selling the product but also a particular way of making sense of our body image. These advertisements will inform us how do you look fair. In a sense, advertisements endorse certain assumptions, certain preconceived notions that one is supposed to look fair, one is supposed to have white teeth in order to be accepted, one is supposed to have a health drink to have a stamina, a particular stamina to perform your identity in the public sphere. In a sense, advertisements construct these artificial perceptions in order to sell their products. And while selling the products, they establish certain notions and rub certain identities, artificial identities, on consumers. The advertisements suggest that our bodies will have a positive impact on others only if we cultivate what they sell as acceptable characteristics. In a sense, it's very interesting. The advertisements not only tell you that how to look good, how to be acceptable, how to be desirable, but also how to be acceptable for others. So whatever the constructions that are manifested through advertisements are not for you, but for others to accept you as a desirable. You need to look fair to impress others. It is others who will eventually like you based on the products that you use. However, these advertisements erase the fact that all bodies do not exist in equal socioeconomic and cultural locations. This is a unique thing about advertisements. Advertisements assume that everyone is equal. The advertisement starts with the perception that everyone is equal, everyone is supposed to achieve that fairer complexion. And it would erase or underestimate or undermine or would not consider various socio-political or socio-economic conditions of consumers. Promoting one body image as done by the media suggests that everyone can aspire to have clean, young, fair, and healthy bodies. However, particular locations for the bodies of customers watching these ads, like those in low-income households with poor nutrition, cannot be changed only with the use of cosmetic products. One of the important aspects the body and identity is that the idea of gender in the body politics in the broader concept of cultural studies. This module will also consider gendered representations of this body image, where different ideals are reproduced and circulated in the popular domain that designate men and women in particular ways. Body and gender. Gender as a social category is constructed by various institutions consistently. Just as identity is performed and naturalized through habitual repetition of certain roles and normalized within institutions like the family, gender is also marked on the body in terms of lifestyle, clothing, and physical attributes. Thus, to be seen as a man or woman, we have to express this identity through the way we dress, walk, sit, speak, among other things. In a sense, these popular media or advertisements construct what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. And very interestingly, the advertisements also construct and attribute certain qualities to the man and to the woman. And you are supposed to succumb to these pressures and you are supposed to behave with those attributes. Our bodies are one of the most visible signs of gender expression. Here, I would like to give an example. Let us take a case study of a two-wheeler advertisement. Let us take two products. One is Scooty Pep, which is supposed to be for women. The other is Bajaj Avenger, which is supposed to serve for men. For instance, the Scooty Pep advertisement constructs the female body as requiring an easy to navigate means of transport and avoids the idea of strength, power, which is emphasized by the Bajaj Avenger advertisement, where the male customer is said to be able to feel like God. The male body in the Bajaj Avenger advertisement is thus constructed as being physically strong and powerful, both features seen in the vehicle itself. On contrary, the Scooty Pep is always associated with ease, comfort, soft, and feminine. The advertisement constructs and produces certain images that Scooty Pep is meant for women and Bajaj Avenger, being very strong, powerful, feel like God, would endorse a masculinity and which is meant for men. The contrast between all powerful male body and passive female is seen in these advertisements, where the man is seated on Bajaj XCD, performs a stunt that makes a spectacle of physical strength, while the woman is visualized merely as a passive observer. You can see a contradicting visuals that are produced by these advertisements. Scooty Pep represents a meek, feminine vehicle, whereas Bajaj Avenger represents a strong, masculine vehicle where one can perform stunts, one can perform masculinity through the bike. Another case study that I would like to mention here is the maternal body. For instance, the advertisement for LifeCell, the first cord blood stem cell bank in India, features a female body only to establish a universal social role for women. Here, the pregnant female form is devoid of any individual attributes, distinguishing features of a particular model, actress, or even entire body, and is visualized only to draw attention to the life harbored inside the womb. Here, the pregnancy is what becomes a symbolic of female body. The female body is here visualized in its absence and only in the fulfillment of a particular social role of motherhood. Here, the mother's body is made invisible and passive to define the rights and the life of future generations. So here, female body is seen as a vehicle to carry a future generation, as a tool to carry a future generations. Thus, within the popular media, there is not only a certain body image that is constructed, but this image is specific to gender. Popular media, like the advertisements under consideration, construct specific roles and images for men and women. In fact, they actively create roles for men and women. These gender roles, like the woman as a mother, the man as being physically strong and masculine, have an impact on the real-life material conditions of viewers. These roles, constructed and widely circulated in popular culture, tend to be seen as natural by viewers. In fact, these advertisements inherently assumes that these perceptions are already available in public domain, and advertisements seem to be endorsing the existing norms, existing perceptions, or certain notions that majority of the viewers already are having. This section looked at the gendered nature of body image circulated in popular media. The next section will look at how popular media views the body as project. This means that body is always seen as a being incomplete and needing an improvement. The body is which is incomplete. It has to be completed. And there are certain things that you need to perform to complete the body. The body as a project. The idea of project invests the body with a certain fluidity and designate it as unfinished and requiring constant work and maintenance. The hybrid global urban spaces we inhabit simultaneously as consumers and the many selves we prepare and present online, in addition to the many medical and scientific advancements that allow us to modify and alter our bodies, contribute to a sense project that is our body. Let us look at cosmetic advertisement as a case study. The 1-minute routine and the hours spent on preparing the body for social interaction, acceptability is familiar on the account of this sense of body as a project. The sale of products that promote routine, habitual labor towards the maintenance of a particular kind of appearance does also feed into the construction of body that is yet to incomplete. The use of anti-aging products, skin and teeth whitening products, for instance, advocate the idea of the body can be rendered complete through consistent maintenance work. Very interesting with cosmetic advertisement, the ever-growing cosmetic industry. When we look at the methodology and the philosophy of this cosmetic industry, it's very interesting. The cosmetic industry inherently assumes that your body is incomplete. And advertisements inform you that they take the responsibility of making your body complete. They inform you what are the products that you are supposed to use to make it complete. You're supposed to use them and become complete and become socially acceptable in social sphere. The body is thus seen as something that can be constantly edited for our flaws, possessing very fluid boundaries that are consequently also difficult to protect. Another case study, very interesting case study, is weight reduction programs that are quite popular that we see in public sphere and popular media. Consider, for instance, this VLCC advertisement, where the customer is seen to have maintained the regimen that allowed her to lose weight as part of VLCC slimming treatment. The treatment offered by VLCC is not sufficient on its own, but requires consistent efforts on the part of consumer to maintain the normal standard that are achieved. In a sense, VLCC would only ensure that it will give you a so-called acceptable body, and hereafter you are supposed to maintain that acceptable body and to achieve the acceptability in the social circles. So far, this model has suggested that the body is an important mode of expressing and performing identity. The body is seen as having a certain standards and rules, and this is communicated via popular media like advertisements. These standards are norms about beauty and health. How these advertisements construct and manifest certain ideas of beauty, a body, a feminine, a masculine, and how do they rub on the consumers, and how do they construct these perceptions as a natural things, natural perceptions, natural things to take it forward and follow those advertisements and products. The body is thus made sense through the difference. That is, some bodies are desirable because of certain acceptable traits endorsed by these cultural powers like doctors, actors, celebrities. The body is also one of the most visible markers of gender. Gender roles and norms are created and maintained in popular culture by visualizing way of expressing gender through body. The body is seen as fluid and changeable by thinking of it as a project in popular culture. By constantly maintaining and working on our bodies, we can achieve the norms and standards articulated in popular media. Hence, the body is seen as a space where contesting ideas have come to the place, and certain market forces such as advertisements play a very important role to shape ideas about how body should look like, what is acceptable, what is fair, what is good, and what is bad. The advertisement and popular culture, especially popular media, through advertisements, celebrities, construct certain ideas about femininity, masculinity, and perfect bodies. Hence, body as a space is very important. Body as an identity, body as a contested space is very important in the area of culture studies. For further readings, please look at the e-text and references for further text and books you can find, and examples you can look at the text that is provided with this module. Thank you.